Hello, everyone. How's your Sunday? So far, so good. We are rounding up April with the theme, I am blessed. It's been our theme the entire month. And last week, if you still have that paper, we took you through the prayers for that and the definitions and all that fun stuff. And as I was contemplating this week, I kept thinking again about my week and the things that had happened. And this quote came across my computer screen during the week. I'm going to use it as our prayer this morning. It's the first one on your paper. It says, sometimes we may ask God for success, and He gives us physical and mental stamina. We might plead for prosperity, and we receive enlarged perspective and increased patience. Or we petition for growth, and we are blessed with the gift of grace. He may bestow upon us conviction and confidence as we strive to achieve worthy goals. That quote's from David Bednar. And it seemed to fit the week. And as always, as Wednesday night, we've been doing the healing service here, which you all are invited to every Wednesday. And there was a lovely lady, Valerie, here this past Wednesday. In fact, she comes every week. But she said, I really liked when I went to a Unity church once, and they went through the Beatitudes. And I went, oh, yeah. That totally fits this month, doesn't it? I love when everybody around me gives me the ideas on what we need to talk about. So I'm going to get to the Beatitudes in a moment, but the Beatitudes are not just ways that we realize we're blessed, but also ways that we realize that we're blessed no matter what. And it's a universe, spirit, God perspective more than what we're going to receive maybe on the planet in terms of that bounce back of recognition. And I think that's so important. In my personal client work this week, there seemed to be a lot of questions about, am I on the right path? What choice do I need to make now? Did I make the right choice? I have this happening in my life. Do I choose option A or do I choose option B? It seemed to be very, very prevalent this week. Now, a lot of you know that I will use cards as tools to help with those questions because it gives a nice visual, especially when I use like 3 different decks and all 3 of the decks say the same thing. You can't get away from what the universe is trying to express back. It is right there in picture form. But what I found myself doing this week is not only doing what I normally do, but also showing the clients, okay, here's option A, here's option B. And the possibility cards were always in the positive. It didn't matter if they chose A or B. Now you could tell in the middle, maybe they would have to do more outward work, or maybe they would need to be more patient, or maybe they would be juggling this or that, or maybe one would take, quote, more time if we buy into the idea of a whole linear time and we have to get things done in a certain time frame. But that our work with the universe always ended up okay. That we would get there, no matter what the choice. And it happened over and over again. It didn't matter if the client was asking me about a relationship situation or a work situation or a health situation. No matter which one, option A or B, the possibilities were always positive. The possibilities are always positive, which I think is what we get from these Beatitudes. The possibilities are always positive. You are totally 100% blessed all the time, inside, Your soul is a never-ending, beautiful, divine instrument to experience the universe and to share that experience. So how can it be wrong? Now we get to choose, because we're blessed with free will, we get to choose how we approach that experience, which is why we get option A and B situations frequently. And then other times, maybe the universe is really going to push us towards one or the other, because maybe we don't think we're ready and maybe we're making the choice out of a fear. So we pick the one we think of least resistance, but maybe that's the one that's going to take longer, just because we're afraid of the jump. And yet the universe will let us do that anyway. Let us do that anyway. And in fact, I was in that mode myself. So not only did I see my clients asking me those questions all week, but I have with another lovely lady, her name is Celeste Elliott, we formed a spiritual help mentorship program. And we posted it online because we actually had several people ask us for such a program. And then we had just a couple people sign up. And I was like, well, is that it? Is that what we need to do? Well, do I need to tell these people that maybe we need to approach it a different way than what it's written up? Do I need to cancel it and revisit it in another year? What is it? Again, I was asking, which approach, A or B? But I was very specific with the universe, which I think we are allowed to do. That's part of our blessed part. We have that direct connection for ourselves. We really, really do. We can say, you know what, am I ready for A? Or would it be more appropriate for me to take more time with B, knowing that in the end, it's all gonna be okay. But in my cockiness, I said, you know what, if it's gonna be A, somebody's gonna send me an email before the end of the day today, so that I know there's enough people to run the program the way it's written right now. But by 10:30 last night, my phone went off, and there was that email. So we have that direct connection to know for ourselves, it's okay. It's okay. And don't be afraid to use your blessedness for that. Because you all are that blessed that you have that much of a connection already to be able to ask and to be able to recognize the sign. Sometimes I think we get the signs and we don't want to recognize it, or we don't think we're worthy enough to interpret it that way. And yet you totally are. You totally are. So blessed in the poor in spirit. Blessed are those that aren't feeling worthy at the moment. It's all cool, you still are, and you're not going to be left alone. Heaven's still there. Spirit's still there. Your angels are still there. Whatever word that is for you, it is still very, very there. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. And mourning comes in all forms. There are so many forms of grief, from the I lost my job, to my friend's not talking to me anymore, to my loved one passed into spirit and I can't even give them a phone call right now. All forms of grief. And yet you are totally 100% supported and totally connected to all those people regardless. Blessed are the meek, they will inherit the earth. Be kind, be considerate, and the angels rejoice. You will know. You will know things on the earth that maybe other people do not. You will feel more. You might feel more. And you might recognize that you're feeling more. And yet, in that feeling is compassion. So much compassion that you can receive and share. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. I listened to a poem that was recited by Maya Angelou last night. If I pronounced her name right, I hope I did. And oh man, was it powerful. And And it was standing in her own power despite anything. And we are so blessed enough to do that, to stand in your own power and say, I am who I am, and I challenge you to be who you are in compassion with me. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. We don't often think about people showing, sometimes we think of those people as the ones that just give and give and give, and then give some more. All those, like the Mother Teresas. We think of them in the mercy compartment. And we all have that possibility to share that blessing with each other and to use that Mother Teresa example as a beautiful example. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. You all already there. You see God the way you need to, the way God presents to you. That's how blessed you are. 100% there all the time. And then you reflect that out. You totally reflect that out. The click there is to listen to your heart and to know that it's there. To know that you're allowed to know things from your heart. You don't have to overthink it. And that your connection can be totally there and reflected out. And blessed are those who are the peacemakers, and blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness. And I think of all of those people, like the Dr. Martin Luther Kings of the world, who walked around without the violence to get the point across that we all could be together. And you do not need to be on that grandest scale to do those same things. That you all have enough blessings of the universe to show that and share that all the time already, and to recognize that from each other. So you're going to pick A or B. You're blessed no matter what. And we're going to get there no matter what. Because in some way or another, you are already all pure heart. You're already the peacemakers. It's a choice on whether you reflect that. And it's a choice to not live in the fear of the physicalness that we're surrounded by. And to know that you are that spiritual being all the time. And to also not deny yourself that experience. Just, yes, we're blessed, but we also can feel poor in spirit. And it's totally 100% okay. That's part of our experience. To know that we can feel not so up to maybe what we think we need to feel or be or do, and know that that's appropriate because you're having the experience and you're going to share the experience. One of my big jokes is, it actually fits in. One of my big jokes is when people ask about their life path. I say, well, I know I'm working on patience. That's my big one, to work on patience. And, things that happen in my life lead to that in some way or another. To either know it or show it or reflect it or realize what it really means. What does patience really mean? And one of the questions I had this week was, what is my life path? What do I need to be doing? So I did the same thing what I was doing with everybody else, the A's and the B's and the choices. And in the possibilities column, in the column that I would expect for myself to see what her purpose, path was, were things like peace and serenity. And like, how cool is that? How cool is that we have such broad topics that we want to learn about? That it's not so, and that's why we get all the cool choices, because no matter which way I choose, somewhere in there I'm going to be learning about patience. It doesn't matter. There's a patience lesson in there somewhere and how I deal with it. And for this lovely soul that was sitting across from me, it was peace and serenity. And the weight off of that person's shoulders when it was realized that I'm working on peace, and I don't have to like do something right now. If I don't like move to this city and take this job, that's okay. That's not what the mission is. Well, if it helps you with peace, then yeah. Or to understand about it and to reflect that back. Because anything you know stays in that whole ocean of the universe, and then the whole universe learns from your experience. So go ahead, pick door D. You're still going to get there. And your angels and your ancestors and the Holy Spirit and Source itself will rejoice that you've even taken the time to choose and to experience and to share your experience. That the Beatitudes are really for us to remember how Spirit sees us, and then to reflect that to each other. And that really the experience is to support unconditional love in some fashion, and then you're spreading that. So who knew that I could spread unconditional love by understanding patience? So what's yours? And it's all good, and it's all blessed. You take just a moment now and allow yourself just to settle into that thought, and allow yourself to just feel your body, and allow your heart to speak to you. And what is that emotion or that feeling that comes most up right now? Is it compassion? Is it peace? Is it serenity? Is it patience? With the intention that whatever you're really feeling, whether that's physically or emotionally or just a knowing, might give you a clue into what you're really being blessed to experience. You're never more than a breath away from that blessing and that truth and the love of Spirit.